what is Vedic astrology? Well, like I said, it comes from the really just Indian, like Hindu religion, Sanatana Dharma, but it was first written down in the Vedas about 1700 BC. You know, people argue about when, but it was around that time. and so there's four main Vedas, and later on, some scholars say that even the language of the Vedas was so archaic that they had to kind of split it into different limbs to be able to understand it, and to kind of split it up and be able to like systematize it. And so you can see there are all the different limbs, but what's important is that Jyotish, Vedic astrology, timekeeping, and astronomy was seen as the eyes of the Vedas. So that just shows you how powerful it is. It's like actually you can see where you're going, through, you can see the path ahead of you. So, Jyotish, the eyes of the Vedas. Jyot meaning light, and Ish meaning, it's kind of like the light, just kidding. It means, Ish means like your personal divine. And so it's that inner light, the light of the divine. And so it's just been passed down from oral tradition, typically. And there's so much more I can get into with the history of Vedic astrology. One of the main sages, Parashara, is kind of the main guru of Vedic astrology. Everybody refers to him as like the Jesus Christ of Vedic astrology, so to speak. But it was developed way before him. It was just a part of the culture. They would just enter into these mystical states, or always were in it, and could just see the motion of the planets would give certain results. And it was mainly for the timing of rituals, like when to do rituals. And each part of the sky had a different god or goddess associated with it. So each day they would know how to kind of communicate and propitiate the divine. And so it wasn't until later times where we start getting concerned with, marriage and personality and health, when we slowly started to decline in health as we moved into cities and out of the forest, where it started taking on more functionings for, being, a king always had an astrologer in his court. And there's a saying like an astrologer, or a kingdom without an astrologer is basically blind. You can't see what he's doing. So it's just always been a part of really any ancient culture. So what I want to do is get into people's charts and kind of integrate the information a little bit more. So do you mind if we do yours first?
Sure.
Okay, because we're gonna talk about the sun, and so I thought your chart was really interesting with the sun, and so we're gonna get into how to interpret this chart, because I know it's really confusing. But I just want to say, you see the SU up there? So you see it at 0 degrees, 7 minutes. So the sun's it's in transition. It's kind of like at the beginning of the sign. And so typically planets, sun and moon, that are at that position are considered like in transition, or not really giving their full result, And then the KE stands for Ketu, And you notice across from that down on the bottom is Rahu, R-A. And those are the points that eclipse the sun and the moon. And so the Ketu, the south node of the moon, is at 4 degrees, really close to the sun. So in effect, it's giving this eclipsing effect to her sun. So, and then she has the sun in Libra. You see that 7 there at the bottom of the diamond? Libra is the 7th sign. So this is just the way I like to have the charts laid out, is the numbers of the signs rather than the glyphs. So, and the sun, there's this term exalted and debilitated in astrology. And exalted meaning out of all the signs, this is the best place for the planet to express itself. And debilitated means this is the hardest place. So the sun is technically debilitated in Libra because Libra is about other people and the sun is all about the self and the soul. So we have kind of like a triply kind of indicated like a weak sun. You know, I hate to use this language, but I know you can handle it. Where it's at 0 degrees, you know, it's kind of being eclipsed, and it's in the sign that it has its hardest. So, so that it'll be what I would recommend for her. And did I recommend it in the reading? I don't know. Sun stuff, like to strengthen your sun.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, because you probably, the reason why I probably didn't in the reading is because you probably experienced this kind of, it makes you more inward. You know, the south node of the moon makes the person be more introspective, you know, and so probably over time you were just drawn to, you know, spirituality, you know, early on, because it's like no one comes to God after winning the lottery, you know. It's like usually through hard times we like go and search for the ultimate thing, and so sometimes when people, yeah, we find a lot of teachers and gurus have the sun and Ketu combination because in early life they realized, you know, they're not of this world, you know, but the sun likes to be the king and, you know, up in front, and so it's kind of an opposite representation of what the sun represents. So the sun is what you identify with. It's your self-expression. And so the house that it's in, which is the area of life, is what you would identify with. So luckily, the sun does really well in the first house because that's where it kind of gets its strength in recognizing the self. You know, so she's identified with herself. You know, even though it's in Libra, which is other people. So it's this interesting, like, identify with myself, but I'm going to accommodate other people's needs at the same time, which is why she's doing this yoga studio rather than going off in a cave somewhere, you know, which she's going to do anyway. But she wants to make sure that, you know, people are taken care of, and then she'll go off to her cave, you know.
It's true.
And if, by the way, if anybody doesn't want me to talk about their chart in front of the class, I totally understand. I don't need to put you on the spot, so just let me know and I'll take you off. So yeah, the sun is, you know, each planet in Vedic astrology means so many different things. And so, you know, soul, self, ego, physical body, like the strength and power, your father, the governments, it's like your public life. All these things. And so I want us to really experience the planets rather than just talk about them, because this is, you know, you guys are into yoga and meditation rather than just practicing astrology. And so this is the Surya Mudra, where this is the sun finger right here, and so you can use this mudra to give yourself more energy. more vitality. And why don't we chant the sun mantra? So Om Hrim. Hrim is a seed syllable, and it kind of potentiates the rest of the mantra. Typically, is what the Bij mantras or the seed mantras do. And so Om Hrim Saraya Namaha. And so why don't we just come into a straight spine, and we can just hold the mudra with the forearms perpendicular to the ground, and go ahead and close your eyes. Inhale, exhale, inhale halfway and begin the chant. Om Hrim Suryaya Namaha. 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 Inhale, suspend the breath. Exhale. So, basically chanting this mantra,
It's really powerful.
yeah, it's the center of the whole thing, right? It all starts from the sun.
My body actually feels warm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, if you're having any problems with any of those words there, with honor and glory, you know, chant this and it'll fix that. You want to be fake?
End of workshop.
Yep. If you want to be famous, chant this.
Sweet.
Yeah. But yeah, you're having problems with who am I? Chanting this mantra will help. or expressing yourself. This is really powerful. And you can visualize this Surya here, this picture, is an added kind of help of meditation. There's just so many, there's like the Surya Yantra. You can probably just look it up online. You can just add all the sun. And on a Sunday is maybe the best day to do sun things or to chant it. It's the beginning of the week.
Sweet.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
That's so powerful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And what I often recommend if somebody has afflictions to the sun, or they need more of that sun energy, obviously Surya Namaskar would be what you would practice. And you guys probably all have done this. Yeah? Surya Namaskar.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of the
Yeah.
basic, the go-to thing. And I often recommend it with the Gayatri Mantra, which is a mantra to Savitur, the sun is inspiration. And so what I would recommend is chanting this, 11 times or 3 times or 108 times. And then...
Will you say it for everybody?
Yeah, I will. We'll chant it together for anybody that knows it too. So maybe chant it once, do one Surya Namaskar and repeat. Do it however many times. And that would probably, and do it at sunrise, and you're going to be famous, Like, yeah. So it's what I recommend the clients in LA and Hollywood. Yeah. And so this is the most popular Vedic mantra. It's cited the most in the Vedas, and it's probably chanted the most all over India. Does anybody not know it? All right, gotta learn it. Yeah, it's really powerful. It just imbues that divine spark of inspiration and intellect into your consciousness, and it imbues you with that self-understanding. So just to translate it, material world, the mental world, celestial world. So all the worlds, the supreme being, the source, Savitur, is one of the gods that rules over the middle constellation Virgo, and it's called Hasta, and it's ruled over by Savitur. And it's where Mercury, the planet of intellect, gets exalted. The best place it can be is in the constellation ruled by Savitur. So it just shows you the intellect is what is stimulated here. This divine spark of consciousness. And so Verenium, this is who we're worshiping. Bargo Devasya Dimahi, the divine light, the sacred truth, we deeply meditate upon that. Diyoyo na prachodaya, the intellect, which to us is endowed in us now. So you can just look it up on YouTube and find somebody chanting it. The one that's the most popular is by Deva Premal, the melody, the Om Bhurva Swaha. And it's hard because I get it stuck in my head, and I'd rather just do the Vedic monotone version, but it just gets stuck in my head. But it's great, and you can chant it however you want. But why don't we just chant it now together 11 times. And so the way to learn a mantra is to just fake it till you make it. Just mumble it, You just look at it and just Om Bhurva Swaha, just let it come out. And then eventually you'll start picking it up. And so you get a recording and have it playing, and then just keep reading it and chanting it along with it, and you'll learn it really quick. So for those that don't know it, just give it your best shot. And so, why not do the Surya Mudra again? This time we could just keep it down on our knees. Okay, so close your eyes and inhale. Exhale. Inhale halfway to begin. Om Bhurбhuva Swaha Tat Savitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurбhuva Swaha Tat Savitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurбhuva Swaha Tat Savitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurбhuva Swaha Tat Savitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurбhuva Swaha Tat Savitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurбhuva Swaha Tat Savitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurбhuva Swaha Tat Savitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurбhuva Swaha Tat Savitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurбhuva Swaha Tat Savitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Inhale. Exhale. So chanting this right at sunrise is the ultimate power. Yeah.
Yes. Friday morning classes.
Yeah. It's just the most fundamental mantra of all time, besides Om, which it starts out with. Okay, and another thing to strengthen Mars is right nostril breathing. I had to do it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so it's just, again, activating that masculine side. Huh? Yeah. What you do is what I like to do. Why don't we just do that too? So I'm going to use my right hand, just because it's the right side, and I usually just do it like a backwards half prayer mudra, and then inhale through the right nostril, and then put my thumb, turn it around, and exhale to the left. And switch it, inhale to the right. And then switch, exhale to the left. And do 3 more times at your own pace. Good. Both nostrils, inhale. And exhale. So, and this is just a really cool tool in your tool belt for just life in general if you're feeling tired. or you need to be awake and stimulated, and right before a test or something important, you want to kind of wake up your mind and consciousness. Right nostril breathing is the way to go. I'm going to change this picture. It's just intense.
But we're doing alternate nostril breathing. So is right just breathing through the right?
Well, yeah, you could just breathe through the right as well, and that still has the same effect.
Okay.
But I would say doing the alternate. Well, I would consider alternate to be inhaling right, exhaling left, then inhaling left, exhaling right. I would think that would be alternating, where this is just one. Yeah, and I find that inhaling right, exhaling left, and repeating is more powerful, or it just seems more effective than just inhaling, exhaling to the right. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I should clarify that. Thank you. Yeah. Do you have any experience with?
Well, I've done alternate nostril breathing, but not that way that we did just now with one pulse on each side.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's typically you want to create balance, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why you wouldn't do that. But if you're feeling low, then you want to create balance by getting back the energy by only doing the right. Yeah. So. Okay, and so the stone for the sun is the ruby. And rubies, all these major stones are typically really expensive. And so secondary stones are garnet, rubellite, rhodolite garnet, or the other secondary ones that are more affordable. And I'll look at the website that is a good gemologist if you can afford super expensive gems. I think if you just type Vedic gems into Google, it should pop up as the first one. and so, it increases all the things that the sun, self-confidence, self-expression, good for, relationships with authority, and good for your career, and being famous.
Amazing. I love rubies. They're my favorite stones.
Yeah, and then there's a whole debate of, gosh, how many people had to die in order to get that ruby? And now you're wearing the karma of that. So I'm a firm believer in manufactured stones would have just as good of effect. Probably a lot of people wouldn't believe that. But I would say like the karma of wearing a real ruby, and you have to know where it was sourced from, because typically stones are just, it's intense.
We're in the gem state in garnets.
There you go.
All over the place.
There you go.
So you just go to the rapids and get your own garnet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Go to the bottom of Bergdorf Pool and get garnets.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great. There you go.
Yep. We were just talking about that yesterday.
I've got mason jars full of
Great.
Sweet. You
Yeah.
can pass them out. So
And so what would be really powerful is making a mala, 108 garnets, and chanting the sun mantra. You would be super famous.
I don't
Keep
know if I
repeating the
want
same
to.
joke.
That's like a loaded gun. I don't really want to be famous.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
I know.
And so, the medical things, the sun helps with heart problems, bone, spinal problems, eye problems, ulcers, bile, acid reflux. And this is really nuanced, so you'd want to talk to an astrologer and your doctor before really deciding about, really an astrologer to decide if it would help, because sometimes there's nuances where putting on would actually hurt the heart problems depending on where your sun was in your chart, so you want to be careful with the gems. And of course it decreases heat. Yeah.
Sweet.
So
we can get a gem recommendation from you
yeah.
in our readings.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So, do you have any more questions?
Can you just explain the basic structure of what we're looking at here?
Yeah, totally. I was going to get to that later, but I wanted to break it up, but I can just jump into it. Okay. So here is the eastern horizon. So the sun rises here. And then, so this is basically how it works. The northern chart style flips the rising sign to be at the head of the chart. And then it goes counterclockwise. Second house, third house, fourth house, below the earth. It's all the internal. And then all the way around, seventh house, setting is other people, like relationships and contracts. And 10th house is career, and so on. So that's, does that make sense for how, cool. So, and then I have, so not to confuse you, but in each of the triangles at the bottom is the number of the sign. You know, so Libra is the 7th sign, so you're Libra rising. Scorpio, the second house. Sagittarius, the third house. And then the abbreviations: Sun, Mercury, Mars, Rahu, Saturn, Moon. You know. And then the first 2-letter abbreviation is where it goes into the divisional chart, which we won't get into because that's way advanced. And I asked the guy who made the program, can you just get rid of that? Because it confuses people. He's like, no, it must be there. I'm like, okay. But the second one is why I want it there, because that's the abbreviation of the lunar constellation, which we'll get into in a second. So your sun's in Libra, but it's in the lunar constellation Chitra, which means the bright one. And it has to do with like the celestial architect Chwavastar and wanting to create good things in the world. You know, so there's so much information besides just the 12 sun signs, which we're going to get into. But yeah, any questions about your chart or anybody? Or
Is this a point in time?
it's when you were born.
Oh, it's when I was born.
Yeah, when you took your first breath,
Okay.
supposedly. Yeah, so it's at 9:28 a.m.
Uh-huh.
on your birthday.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So the sun was about 20 degrees up in the sky. So you were born like right after sunrise.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. I don't know why we all looked at you.
That
That was weird.
was kind of weird. That was really weird, actually. Yeah, we did look at her. What?
I wonder what's going on in your chart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each space represent, you had your chart that you just showed us that was like
Mhm.
flipped and had 10 sections, is that right?
12.
12, and so each space represents a house.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the first house, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8, 9, 10. And I'll explain why I do this chart style in a moment.
Well, I was gonna say, if this is the moment of my birth, then how do you relate this to now?
Well, you come into the world with all these certain dynamics imprinted. And so from that, we can see your entire psychological profile. And you see all those dates there on the right. That's the timing of when planets give their karma or shed. And so you started life in the Mercury cycle, and it goes in this particular order, you know, all throughout your life. And so you can look at the starting of a country, the starting of a business, starting of a marriage, and it has the same. It's kind of, once it enters into time as starting, then you can predict everything about it. So I picked marriage dates for people. I picked when to start people to start their company. like the other day, my teacher was like, "Hey, help me pick the starting time of a company in London for me." You know? Just like that's just what part of what an astrologer does, and that's actually what astrologers do mostly in India, is do marriage charts and pick the time of weddings and when to start businesses. It's not, they don't really get into psychological profile like we do in the West.
So like traditionally a king would have been like, when should I go take over this other country?
Exactly. Yeah. All that stuff. When should I sell my goods and, you know,
Very often
all-
firstborn or no.
yeah, all these things. And still to this day, Hindu astrologers are only rewarded for predictions. You know, they're just like, you will have a cow, you know, in 3 years or whatever. You know, like you're gonna have 5 children. You know, like
Right. Ridiculous.
But if they
and,
get it wrong, they don't get paid, basically.
right. But when they get it right, you're like, whoa, how did you know that? So that's where they don't really talk about your psychology,
Right.
because who cares? You know, I want to know if I'm going to be famous.
For $1
Right?
million.
I don't care about you.
Just buy this ruby for me for $300 and you'll be famous. You know, this is what they do. They hustle gems and swindle people out of their money. Seriously, like most of the Indian astrologers are just trying to sell gems.
So don't buy gems in India.
So
You got to be careful.
because your chart was like you need to work on the sun. I'm confused. Like, is it basically your entire life you need to be working with the sun?
Possibly.
But so the chart is
But she already she did though, which is why I didn't even like recommend it in her reading, because she worked on self reflection already. Like it drove her to do that. You know?
right. So then you look at the literal things that you've done in your life.
Well, yeah, it's like she already did plenty of, you know, of this stuff and you know, chanting and, you know, all of that. And so she came to me when she was like 18, it would have been a different story. You know,
So you would have, so the year,
like you were in K2 cycle from 11 to 18 years old. So I'm sure that was like super introverted, like awkward teenage time anyway, but you know,
All right.
you know, and so,
so I was dealing with that.
you were dealing with that
Yeah.
back then, and you had this kind of crisis potentially internally, like, or I don't know, like I forget your story of how you came to it, spirituality.
Oh, I didn't tell you my whole story.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't told you.
Yeah.
I haven't really talked
Yeah.
about it.
Okay. But then, you know, there was this sun cycle from 38 to 44. So, yeah, I don't want to like guess and be wrong, but I would assume you were probably doing some kind of like work with other people, yet it kind of conflicted with I should be working on myself and like, do I really exist? And yeah.
Wow.
So
Right?
is it saying she needs to work on her son because of her son being in that house? Would it be different if it was in a different house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not the house. The house is actually giving it strength
Okay.
because
It's
the sun
sign.
represents the self, and she has it
I
in the
see.
house of the self.
Oh, okay.
So it's like that's
makes
really
sense.
strong.
Okay.
You know, sun rising and sun in the 10th house are the
Yeah.
best places for the sun, because sun is like career and external stuff, right? So 10th house. But then she has it at 0 degrees, so it's not here nor there. It's not really expressing. It's in transition, and then it's close to the eclipsing south node, and it's in its sign of debilitation, Libra, where it gets caught up in other people instead of the self. So it's interesting. Libra is like their rising is other people, you know, the self. So that's why they get like the whole scales thing, or really it's like about harmony, wanting to create harmony, and then that usually gets in the way of their enlightenment, so to speak, or their, you know, they get caught up in other people's crap rather than focusing on their own self. And so we have her Venus. So Venus rules Libra, and again we have Venus in the 11th house. And the 11th house is the tribe, the community. So it would kind of tilt it even more into like, I'm thinking about the community and other people. So the first house, the ruler of the first house is like another sun sign. You know? So if you're Aries rising, do you guys know what planet rules Aries? Mars. Yeah. So Mars, wherever Mars would be for an Aries person, would be almost as significant as being an Aries rising. You know, so for her, it's like she's a Libra rising, but like an Aquarius or like an 11th house Leo kind of Libra. You know, so it kind of modifies it, and it's just as significant as the sun sign. And what's interesting is she has the sun in Libra, which is ruled by Venus, and she has Venus in Leo, which is ruled by the sun. And so that cancels the debilitation of the sun because they exchange energies. You know, they're in each other's sign. So it's called Nicha Bhanga, which means fall broken or debilitation canceled.
It even sounds like that. Nicha Bhanga.
Nicha Bhanga, yeah. And it's called the Parivartana Yoga, like the exchange, mutual exchange. And so her work with the community, you know, lifts up the sun being kind of, well, yeah, like overly, it kind of like finds its purpose through community. You know? And she has a Jupiter there as well. Jupiter is the teacher in the 11th house of community. So, and it's in Magha, the beginning of Leo, which is all about ancient traditions. So,
You're on the right path.
and then
You should buy a cow.
you should
You
buy
should
a
buy
cow.
a cow. You
Yeah.
have $1 million.
And then
One
this Saturn moon, this is the 6th house, which is all about healing work, service. And so the moon is in this position, so it's like her unconscious feeling mind is in the place of like healing work and service, and it's in the very last constellation of the whole zodiac, which is basically the divine shepherd, you know, bringing people to the other side.
Yeah.
You know? So, and the Saturn moon conjunction also is also they're going to put other people's needs first before their own. So we see this theme a lot. She has a lot of, you know, community, and she's willing to kind of sacrifice her needs to serve the people. Yeah. That's intense. I mean, but that's like, it's a pleasant,
Go to the hot springs.
you know, you're a pleasant person to be around, but maybe internally it's like, oh God, I just want to get away. And you're going to. It's great. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Awesome. But it's like you made sure you took care of this, you know, and other people would just go away. You know?
Is there significance? Because there are some houses that don't have anything.
Right.
Is that significant as well?
Well, it's kind of significant, but really the way it works, astrology works, is the ruler of this house, where is it? And that kind of fills out what's going on in the house. So 10th house is Cancer, the 4th sign, and it's in healing, you know, people, serving people, and helping them transition and nourish people to, you know, and so that's career. And so it makes it, yeah, like it's not as significant as, that's what people say. It's like, oh no, my relationship place is empty, you know, but it doesn't work that way.
So
Yeah.
taking zodiac, which is what the numbers are symbolizing.
Yeah.
And then so taking them down, finding other charts, and so that can move the house if it's like something.
Um,
Because you like pointed to the
Yeah.
floor,
So
and then, like,
for the fourth sign is Cancer. So this is Cancer.
Yeah.
It's ruled by the moon. Cancer's ruled by the moon. So it's in the 6th house. Libra, ruled by Venus, is in the 11th house. It's called dispositor. That's how astrology works, is through the dispositor. The dispositor of the 10th house is in the 6th house. So, and the dispositor, the ruler of the 4th house, Saturn, is in the 6th house. So that's how astrology works. And you guys should write down this website, starma.com, starma.com. And my friend and her daughter actually wrote it, and she's a practicing Vedic astrologer. And you can do this. You can punch in your data and get all of this information. Ruler of the 10th and the 6th, what does that mean? Ruler of the 4th and the 6th, what does that mean? I mean, incredible resource. And it on the surface, it's a Vedic astrology dating site, so you don't have to use it for that. But, and the kids, yeah, yeah. It's not, but like, it's not really. They had a baby, and so they haven't really updated it, and it's still working, and people are using it, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of funny. But it's a great thing because, like in India, they connect people through their charts, so it's an incredible resource. Yeah. And then I'll also recommend some books, like the book of my teacher also has the same thing. Ruler of the 4th and the 10th. What does that mean? Yeah, his book's incredible, and I brought it so you can see it. But that could be your homework. You can get your chart, plug it into starma.com, and then you can look at everything in your chart, and it's incredible. What an incredible resource for free. You know?
Sure, that column over there with the different colors,
Mm-hmm.
those are cycles, right?
Yeah. So the moon,
the planets,
yeah,
casting their
karma. Shedding their karma.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this part is just so accurate. You know, it's just the most robust system of prediction in Vedic astrology. Every single Vedic astrologer uses it. There's other ones that you can use, but this one by Parashara, who's the main sage of Vedic astrology, was like, this is the one. It's incredible.
Those
And
are called
dashas.
dashas.
Yeah, and
9-year
basic.
cycles?
Each planet has a different. They cycle through each of the 9 planets relative to the cycle. So, for instance, each one, the sun, it goes sun, subcycle, moon, Mars. It always goes in that order of K2, K2, Venus, Sun, Moon, Mars, Rahu, and it's basically the order of the lunar constellations. And it's based on where the moon is when you were born, is this cycle right here. And it's a 120-year cycle. That we're going to get into that in a second. So but yeah, any more questions? Just about your chart or anything? But pretty cool stuff, right? I love like getting into the charts because you're like, ooh, it's like so real, and you just, you're going to study your chart forever, It's a path of self-discovery. So we can just geek out on somebody's chart all day,
Yeah.
There's so much to talk about. Then we can get into like the divisional charts and it's just endless fun. Okay, so we're gonna break at 1 o'clock, right? Yeah. Okay. So we'll just get into this part. So Vedic versus Western astrology. Now it uses the sidereal zodiac as opposed to Western using the tropical zodiac. And so basically the tropical zodiac, like it sounds, is based on the seasons. So it orients the sky to the solstices and the equinoxes. And so it readjusts the sky for always when it's the spring equinox, the sun is at 0 degrees Aries. Now, when you look up in the sky on the equinox, the sun is still, it's at like 6 degrees Pisces. And that's because the tropical zodiac doesn't take into account the wobble of the earth, the precession of the equinoxes, which is like a 26,000 year cycle. So the earth wobbles a degree every 72 years. So the last time that sidereal and tropical zodiac were the same was around the year 280, like about 2,000 years ago. So the earth has wobbled about 24 degrees off from the actual the tropical zodiac. And it's not to say one's right or wrong, and we'll get into why that is. But people would then say, well, then Vedic's more accurate. But I'll show you in a second. It's not even accurate either, in a way. But it's closer to the actual place in the sky of where everything is. Closer to what an astronomer would tell you.
Didn't these just change too?
That's what I'll get into.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. And so this is the sidereal sun sign that splits up the sky into 12 equal parts of 30 degrees. Okay, so this is your new Vedic sun sign. And so,
Did they not take into account the wobble because they didn't know about it, or they just decided
no,
not?
I think it's just a decision,
A decision.
To use springtime is Aries energy, always. But then I'm like, what about Australia when it's fall? Yeah, it's upside down. Yeah, I don't know. But then I'll get into how astrology works, basically. But first, yeah. NASA released this thing on their kids' NASA website. They're like, astrology is full of crap, and here's where everything actually is. And so, NASA hates astrology. Because the language in there is like, astrology isn't real. They're just like super intense. They just don't get what's going on. Oh, yeah, that's another thing, where another constellation that they decided to add, and a lot of it's I don't know. My understanding is that this whole like viral internet thing that happened, and suddenly it became the next. Remember that?
Sorry.
That's okay. I just noticed Macaulay Culkin was
Disappeared.
shadowy. Yeah, he had a K2 influence.
It's in K2.
Yeah. So this, because it's funny because I was always like, well, Vedic astrology is accurate, but then I was like, well, actually, it's not. According to NASA, like the size of, if you look at Scorpio, so the sun moves a degree every day. It's about 360 degrees, 365 days. So, and so you look at Scorpio, it's only like 6 degrees big in the sky. So the sun actually is only going through the astronomical, according to NASA, Scorpio, for only 6 days, 7 days. And so, well, shoot, how does it all work? We're just full of crap here.
Kristen looks so
My
confused.
whole life I thought it was a Scorpio.
What's your sun sign? What's your birthday?
November 5th.
Yeah, so you'd be the sign before, in Vedic, in the sidereal zodiac. So you'd be a Libra. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this is how astrology works. It's just a divination system. It's a symbolic system. This is how divination works. You choose your set of symbols, and it's better if they're embedded in nature, or if they're universal archetypes, because then reality has those already in there. And then it communicates back to you this feedback loop of information. So it's basically pick your measuring stick and stick to that. Pick your set of symbols and stick to that. You want to do the Mayan calendar? Great. Reality will start having like the white dog come to you, and the serpents, and it doesn't matter what it is, tarot cards. It's all just a tool for your mind to kind of fall upon, to then let information come through. So tea leaves, whatever it is. Like my experience with, I went to this college in metaphysics while I was in Indiana, and they had us record our dreams, and they had this dream dictionary that they wrote. And I didn't even agree what they thought birds were, or dogs. But they're like, just do it anyway, just believe it. And I was like, all right, fine. And then so my dreams started presenting to me meaning through the definitions they had in that book.
Oh, okay.
So that's how it works. So that goes for anything. So it makes it really fun. Makes reality really fun. You just have to pick your set of symbols, and why not use ancient ones that have always been around and are like a bird or an owl or something that is relevant to your culture. And then reality starts presenting it to you that way. So
basically what you're saying is that the system of measurement that we choose creates our reality. It's a feedback loop.
Yeah.
So if we're choosing
If you're choosing NASA, then
NASA, if we're choosing quantum physics, if we're choosing Newtonian,
right.
mechanistic
Yeah, exactly.
mathematics, that's what
you get.
we get.
So that's why when you talk to a scientist, they're just like, you're full of crap, because my symbols of reality say that you're false, and it doesn't come into my field ever. Yeah.
Participant.
Yeah.
Participant universe.
Yeah.
Co-create.
Yeah. And to me, that just makes it exciting, because then it's not just this mathematical system. It's open to magic and interpretation, and then a whole limb of Vedic astrology is reading omens. It's actually an integral part of Vedic astrology is reading the signs around you. Because in India, they typically don't even have their birth dates, So they come to an astrologer, and he just looks at what's going on in the sky at that moment and knows the answer to your question. And based on, there's a crow that flew by, and to him that means no. Honestly. And because reality will start showing you those. And it's when I started opening up my astrology to that, it gets really trippy.
We saw two, for example, we saw an owl when we brought Charu in. I've never seen an owl fly in front of my car while I've been here, but I have a lot of owl medicine. Flew in front of the car, and for me that meant the bringer of truth, or the remover of darkness. So I was like, oh, Charu is the remover of darkness, and your name is to illuminate light. So
right.
It's true.
Yeah. India uses pretty much deifies everything. Water is a god or goddess. Apis. Everything is given this form so that they can then relate to it more. So Vedic astrology uses the 9 gods or grahas, they're called. There's no Sanskrit word for planets. The word is graha, which means to grasp or to seize. You ever hear Gandhi say satyagraha? Seize the truth. So if you're talking to a fundamentalist Vedic astrologer, a Jyotishi, they'll say graha. They'll never say planet. Because they're just energies that seize you, seize your consciousness. And you can work with these kind of archetypes, and this is what we primarily work with in the astrology, and we'll go over each one throughout the class. But everything is deified and given that personal feeling. So, and all the symbols, a part of it to give you information about how it works. Like the Muna Pirachandra, as a deer, kind of like jumps around all over the place, kind of fickle, and it gives you all the information just with the symbols. So Vedic astrology uses sun and moon, the 5 elemental planets, and Rahu and Ketu. So what the heck is Rahu and Ketu? Right? It's the yeah, cool, right? Talk about embedded symbols in nature. Rahu is the north node of the moon. Ketu is the south node of the moon, and they're what eclipse the sun and the moon about every 6 months. And you can see how it works. They're just invisible points that they actually mathematically kept track of, because eclipses are what cause the main things to happen, like feast or famine for a whole year during the ancient agricultural communities. So they really had to know when the eclipses happen, because it's a pretty intense time. The sun and the moon are getting eaten up by the demon Rahu, and so the story is they were all doling out the they got the Amrit, the immortal elixir of immortality, and so all the gods and goddesses were waiting in line to get their share, and Rahu, the serpent demon, disguised himself as a god, and he got to it, and he was in between the sun and the moon, or Surya and Chandra, and he got one drop of nectar, and the sun realized that he was an asura, or a demon, and so Vishnu immediately threw his disc and cut his head off, but he got one drop of immortal elixir. So he is now forever, every 6 months getting his revenge on the sun and the moon, swallowing up the sun and the moon. And so that's the mythology around Rahu and Ketu. So Rahu is the head, the north node, and so it's a head without a body. So it has all these qualities of it can't be fed, this endless fascination and ambition, and Ketu is the opposite. It's a body without a head, and so it's about withdrawing, introspection, like letting go, detachment. So you have your sun with that Ketu, so it imbues in your kind of sense of self this like detachment, this withdrawal, dissatisfaction with the world. Yeah. So that's Rahu and Ketu, and it's considered a bona fide graha, just as much as Mercury and Venus. There they are right here. Oh wait, that's Shani. Can't see it. Yeah, Rahu and Ketu. He has a head. Wait, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Okay, so now here is America's chart, July 4th, 1776. And what's interesting is that in September last year, we entered into the Rahu cycle. And so Rahu is the demon that wanted what he wanted so bad he was willing to get his head cut off. We elected Trump. We wanted change so bad as a collective that we were willing to get our head cut off. And it just started. It's an 18-year cycle. The Rahu cycle. We just started it. And so what's interesting is that Trump's chart, he has pretty much the really powerful, like an exalted Rahu with the sun, which basically, you guys know who Trump is. It's like I'm totally, engrossed and full of myself, and it's in this in Taurus, which is like money and resources, and it's in the 10th house of career and fame. He has the sun in the 10th house, super famous, and it kind of just makes his personality self-absorbed, obviously. And so he has what's called the Kala Sarpa Yoga, or the Time Serpent Yoga, where the nodes are containing the whole, like all the planets are on one side of it. And so it basically, when that happens to people, it gets them more intense in karma in life, where they want to get caught up in bigger, more global indications. They want to like go out and win the world, and they just kind of experience life super intensely. So Trump was in his Rahu cycle for 18 years, all the way up until just after the election, November 16th. So he was like running this super powerful Rahu ambition for 18 years, and at the very end got him to the presidency. And now he's in Jupiter cycle, where he's like enjoying the like wealth of, all that shadow work he did or didn't do. But it's just really interesting to give perspective of the cycles of time, and what we're in right now as a country. We're ready for revolution. We're tired of the secret government, and not to say that Trump's gonna be any less secretive, but on the surface it was like, oh, here's this just regular businessman. We want him to lead the way because we're tired of business as usual in politics. We kind of want to like break the thing. We want to revolutionize. Yeah. And so basically with Trump's just channeling the collective revolution of the country. So
what's his next cycle, though? Jupiter?
It's Jupiter for 16 years.
So what does that mean?
Well, it might mean that he becomes a guru and a saint. I'm just kidding. But it would mean that a better side of him would come out. Yep. It's still about, it's Jupiter in the second house of money, and Jupiter is retrograde, which is kind of like question beliefs. And he wants, and it's in that constellation Chitra, which is wanting to create good things. So I saw this funny video of like all these right-wing people in India doing all these pujas to Trump, because he's in Jupiter cycle now, and they're putting like third eyes on his picture, and so doing all these pujas. They're like, yes. So cool. Yeah.
Can we hang that in the bathroom?
We
Totally.
should, right?
Yeah.
Like a little flower.
I mean,
So they're confident in this.
I mean, I don't, just that whatever people, I don't know, just some right-wing group in India. I have no idea. I just saw a friend show it to me. He's like, is this true? I'm like, yeah, he did enter his Jupiter cycle. And so there's this really cool video that this one woman I follow, where she predicted Trump winning where no one else was predicted that. And there's all these crazy signs in when he decided to be president, and all these things that she was like, look at this, look at that, So I should share that with you guys. It's really trippy. It's like, he's kind of like the false prophet in a way.
Maybe that's people on the Today Show should have an astrologer.
What was that?
Should.
People on the Today Show should have an astrologer, because they sounded awful when they were trying to like talk about the election. They were all like, "Oh, what?
Yeah.
He's winning? What?"
Yeah.
They couldn't
I
figure
know.
out what to say.
I know. I don't like a lot of people. But for me, I'm an apocalyptimist. Optimistic about the apocalypse, because the work that I do, it kind of what you guys remember the 2012, like we're like, oh, the world's gonna end. It was like I was like getting ready for that transformation, and kind of like came and went. But this feels like even more bigger. It's like all this work we're doing here, in this yoga studio, doing all this light work. it's like we're needed the most now.
Oh, that's funny. You're the second person to say that.
Yeah, so I was
Like a
excited.
month to me.
Honestly, I was excited when he was elected. I'm not excited for everybody who's not a white male in this country, you know, because they're all the women, anybody who's not Christian.
Yep.
Look out, you know, because it kind of empowers that mentality. And so, but I'm really excited to help, and I have the privilege to do that because, but it's time for us to really step up. And if you look at basically the before 2012 and even this election, the Vedic astrologers were looking at 2020 as being one of the hardest years. So we're kind of culminating to this point in 2020 where it's like corporate takeover, basically.
Right.
Like the loss of dharma and just kind of, corporate takeover, basically. Yeah, so I'm more interested in what's happening 4 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Right.
This is just the beginning. So I just want to finish the thought here with, we have the 9 planets, 9 grahas, but we usually associated that with the outer planets. The 9 planets excluding Rahu and Ketu. And they're not included in classical Vedic astrology because they only used what was observable. And these were outside of visible observation. And they have all sorts of invisible planets that they experience totally different from this. But I still use them sparingly in my analysis, but typically I just leave them out because you can do everything without them. But you'll probably miss some things if you don't include it. But I typically don't include it. I include it more for astrocartography, which is like locational stuff, and also just for timing of events. If it's on your things are on you come to your natal Pluto, it'll have an effect. So I use them off and on, and I'm going to start using them more and more. But you just want to have a simplified system of techniques. You don't want to get too mental.